30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
If you're drunk,
Blasted. Intoxicated.
rip, plastered, paint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, they emerged
Your mic's hot.
wearing black, and they string you along for another week. The New York Jets wasn't pretty, but put together a full game. 21-10 victory at Thursday Night Football. The Jets over the Texans, and we can't quit Aaron Rodgers just yet. More questions for the Houston Texans coming out of this game than I think answers for the Jets, but they will spin it as it's an opportunity. And you play a game like that, put it all together. Your defense plays well. Your offense creates explosive plays when it matters in the second half. Let's say you snap a 5-game losing streak and start to find your way out of a dark, dark place that was the 2-6 New York Jets. But we will continue to talk about a 3-win football team because of the personalities and because of the flashes, the moments that you saw on Thursday Night Football, the moments that you're expecting a lot more of from the New York Jets. But I think coming out of this game, team that has a lot more concerns than maybe even just the 3 wins for the Jets, it's the Houston Texans. And I think there was a reason. We knew they were injured, but yesterday we were having the conversation, are we overlooking this team? They were 6-2. Why are we not talking about them more as AFC contenders? And I think we saw it last night is they have a lot of holes they need to fill, and CJ Stroud could not elevate, could not overcome all the issues the Houston Texans had. What it do? It's a football Friday. It's an everything Friday for you right here on the opening drive. JJ Buck got the former Lobo Cy Riley with us. Isaiah holding it down behind the glass, and we got a stack show for you today. We're diving into the Lobos and Wyoming, New Mexico football back home tomorrow. 7.5-point favorites over Wyoming, looking the Lobos are to get their 4th win of the season. 4 games to win 3 to become bowl eligible. And how successful have they been to this point of this season? Monday, hoop season is officially here. The regular season starts. Lobo women, 11 a.m. game against Northern Arizona. The Lobo men have a 7 o'clock tip-off against Nichols State at the Pit. So a home doubleheader for Lobo basketball. We're going to talk with Jeff Grammer, the beat writer for Lobo men's basketball, coming up at 9 a.m. Of course, also doing a lot of football work this season. And we're going to talk about expectations, not just for Lobo basketball, but what it could mean moving forward with the swirling changes in the Mountain West Conference, and then the stories that are out there of coaches that do well this year that are next in line to get that job. And one of those coaches is Richard Pitino. But with that, we start on Thursday Night Football. It was a slow game, 69 yards total offense in the first half for the Jets. It was 10-7 with New York up on Houston by just 3 points. Heck, it was a 14-10 game late in the fourth quarter until Devontae Adams, welcome to the party. Mr. Adams had a 37-yard touchdown, which put the Jets ahead for good, 21-10. The final. When you look at this game, Cy, the Jets come out, played pretty good football on both sides of it. The second half, offensively, they were able to create some explosives, especially thanks to Garrett Wilson. Shin is in. Shin is in. That's what we found out. But is this something that, as frustrated as everyone was with the Jets, as frustrated as everyone was, man, we still have to talk about this team. Well, we kind of do. Because if you look like that, there's a way that this team could definitely get back to 500 with the schedule ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we went into the game yesterday talking about, the Texans, they beat up on the sloppy teams. And, when it came to playing the Packers and the Vikings, they couldn't get the job done. And And we kind of expected, a little bit more of that today, but or last night, but it just didn't come to fruition. I think the first half, D'Amico Ryans had a good, game plan, and we're not going to, slide our coverage to Devontae or Garrett. We're going to trust our DBs, Derek Stingley Jr. and Kamari Lassiter, to get the job done. In the first half, they did. They held Aaron Rodgers to under 40 or 52 passing yards in the first half. On 14 attempts, which is crazy. But when they came back to the second half, that kind of game plan bite them in the butt. You had Garrett Wilson have an amazing second half. Obviously, Devontae got hurt on a 38-yard catch, but was able to come back in the game later and get the touchdown. So, yeah, Kamari Lassiter kind of got beat a little bit off the line, shook. Not a little bit, a lot. So, the game plan kind of for the Texans was nullified by outstanding ball players in Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. And that's kind of what the game plan was, and that's what happened. They turn around, get the 21 points in the second half, able to score. Aaron Rodgers avoided another week of hot conversations of should he retire or is he, done. So, you got to give credit where credit is due. The Jets went out there, they won the football game. The Texans, they got a lot to work on, with this mini bye that they have, and get ready for the rest of the weeks up ahead.
Yeah, I think this hole for the Jets, it's going to be too much eventually to overcome. But when you look at some of the AFC wildcard teams at this moment in time, who do we trust to get hot, as we were having that conversation as well? And this is kind of what we are expecting, is keep it simple. Now, Aaron Rodgers wasn't spectacular, but all he has to do is put the football downfield, get it in the hands of Garrett Wilson, now get it in the hands of Devontae Adams, and those guys can make plays. If you look at Garrett Wilson in the last 2 weeks, he's been showing up. But really, to me, it was what the Jets defense did in this game, and it's holes that the Texans are really struggling to overcome, because we knew Nico Collins on the IR, Stephon Diggs out with that injury. But in this game, you saw Laramie Tunsil, the left tackle, the left guard, Keon Green, both missed time in this contest. They lost Will Anderson early to an ankle injury, their top pass rusher. And on top of that, because of the offensive line issues, the Jets sacked C.J. Stroud in this game over and over and over again. And you look at Houston, I was disappointed, guys. I was. I thought this was going to be a game where you saw C.J. Stroud elevate, need to step up for his team. We're talking about the talents that he has, but he was just 11 of 30. Now, you take into account you losing the left side of your offensive line for multiple parts of that game. So was this one where we just need to take a step back and say, hey, this Texans team was just a lot more injured or this game? Or can we put it on C.J. Stroud a bit and say, man, you need to be the guy that elevates this team out of a rough patch, which is a rough patch when you have that many guys injured?
I think it's a little bit of both, but also with the Jets, I don't want to let Rodgers' struggles or the offense struggles allow me to forget that their defense is also pretty stout. Now, the Texans could have scored more than 13. I do think they're capable of doing so. I think if Stroud wants to take that next step, he's got to really find a way to elevate his players, but that's also a hard thing to do in your second season. And as for the Jets, I don't want to write them off just yet, because they did get this win, and they have some very winnable games. They got the Cardinals next week, then the Colts, then the Seahawks, and then the Dolphins, and then the Jaguars. So the Jets could easily go out here and string off 5 straight wins.
And that's the thing, you just can't quit the Jets. It's the name, and we were ready, okay, we get it. It's Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams. So if you just lost to the Patriots at some point in time, we got to realize you just ain't that good. But it's that hope that draws you back in. It's what the Jets were waiting for, and this wasn't a pretty game. Like you said, it was right. They were still 14-10, 3 minutes left, and Adams is able to break that 37-yard touchdown on a short third down play to blow the game open. And so there is so much to get into it, and it's a realization that we can't quite quit the Jets yet, because if they have the explosive playmakers, and this was the hope for this offense, is keep it simple for Aaron Rodgers. He can just make the plays downfield, put the football out there. Because the Garrett Wilson catch was unbelievable. It was Odell Beckham Jr. I guess he got his shin in. I guess that counts. That is one watching that. I'm like, okay, we are definitely moving the bar a little bit on what is a catch in the league. Is the shin goes down just before the knee goes out of bounds, but in other situations, if your toe's down but you're pointed backwards, you have to get the heel down before that doesn't count. Whatever happened, they call it a touchdown, and so that's 3 touchdown passes on the night for Aaron Rodgers. And how you feeling about the Jets? 505-246-0610. That's the Sports Animal hotline and text line this morning. And coming out, I think the Jets are going to have levels like this throughout the season. You look at the schedule, maybe you feel like, okay, this is a team we thought they were going to be before last week's game against the Patriots, looking ahead at winnable games. Man, you have that skill talent on the field, and that was the difference, because you saw C.J. Stroud without it, but I was really disappointed in C.J. Stroud. But then you have to pull back the layers just a little bit. The left side of the offensive line isn't there. You lose one of your big-time pass rushers, Will Anderson. Now you start asking the question, how do the Houston Texans climb out of this? Like, what's left? Do we see all the wide receivers that have already been traded? You know, how close is Nico Collins to coming off of the IR? Because that passing game without Nico Collins, it's just not the same. And I expect more out of C.J. Stroud when you have enough. You Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, but Dalton Schultz just 3 for 21. Tank went off, he had 6 for 126, but I think that's also part of the game plan that you can do against the Texans right now. So Thursday Night Football, it's a 21-13 win for the Jets, and we just can't quite quit them just yet. We got Jeff Grammer coming up at 9 a.m. this morning. We got hoops and football to discuss. Wyoming at New Mexico. We got the former Lobo linebacker Cy Riley with us, so you know we're going to dive into that game a whole lot on a Football Friday, and then some big-time questions. One of the biggest games of the weekend. It's Green Bay, and it's Detroit. Should Jordan Love go? If he's not 100%, is this one where your starting quarterback needs to step up and need to be in the lineup? And do you need to play the long game, even against your division rival, playing for first place in the division? What should the Packers do? We'll dive into that next. It's Opening Drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
When you have sports mixed with your pop...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
There's an injury involved. Now, your quarterback's trying to play. He's trying to step up. He's not tapping out of the game. But with all that's on the line, when it comes to your starting quarterback, should you put him out there if he's not 100%? Even if he might be cleared to go, do you have to look at the bigger picture even halfway through the NFL season? What it do? Welcome back. Opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal, and on ProView Network. Streaming, looking good. It's Red Day. You notice we all got the cherry on this morning, rocking it. Joined by Cy Riley, former Lobo linebacker, Isaiah holding it down behind the glass, Adrian producing on ProView Network. So one of the biggest games this week in the 6-1 Lions, the 6-2 Packers, NFC North clash, and Jordan Love is questionable going into this contest. Missed the end of the Jacksonville game last week and has a groin injury that he is dealing with. He's been limited, hasn't practiced over the last couple of days, but he still feels it's realistic that he would be able to play against the Lions this weekend. Missed a couple games early in the year with that MCL injury. And we're talking about the quarterback stepping up this week. We're having the Anthony Richardson conversation where he tapped out because he was tired on 3rd down. But how do you guys see this one? Because, yes, this is a gigantic game, and this could come down to winning the division when it's all said and done. But the Packers have goals of being a team just like the Lions that compete for an NFC championship. So what level do you guys feel comfortable putting Jordan Love out there? Does he have to show today that he can move around enough to protect himself in the pocket? Or would you be concerned that your quarterback with a groin injury, while he wants to play, could go out there and all of a sudden, maybe this being a 1 or 2 week thing, it's a month, and then it changes the entire trajectory of the second half of the season? How do you feel about Jordan Love? You love that he's trying to play, but what are you doing, Cy, if you're the Packers in this big-time matchup against the Lions?
Yeah, I'm throwing him out there. You know, it's very rare as you get down, the season that you're going to feel 100%. Just the knit and grind of a football season is going to wear and tear on your body. You're going to get nicks and bruises and bumps. And so, yeah, it's going to be very rare that you're going to ever feel as good as you felt week 1. You look at the standings. The Lions are 6-1. The Packers are 6-2. This is for first place in the division, and possibly first place in the NFC, conference right now. So, if I'm the Packers, we got to roll Jordan Love out there, give ourselves a chance. And when you look at the other side of the ball, the Detroit Lions, their pass rushing room is compromised. No Aiden Hutchinson. They're trying to get team coverage sacks, not necessarily, the monster. Aiden Hutchinson, he had it going, as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and he was in the front runner for that spot. So with him not being there for the remainder of the year, this is one of those games that you got to go out and you got to get. If I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, but hey, it's the NFL. It's becoming playoff time. These games are becoming more and more incentivized. They're becoming more and more high pressure situations. You got to go out and get these wins. If I'm the Packers, if I'm the Vikings, if I'm fighting for that first spot in the division, which everybody seems to think that this division, whoever wins this division, will be the NFC conference, get the first seed and get that bye so that you can get an extra week of rest later on. So I would bypass the week of rest now and go ahead and roll out there. And if the chips fall to where Jordan Love gets hurt, that's what happens in the NFL sometimes.
Yeah, I also agree that he should go out there. But if they were to hold him out of this one, I would slightly understand, because looking at the Packers schedule, just moving forward, they have the Bears after this and then the 49ers. And those two games you also would really like to have Jordan Love there. So, I mean, at this game here, I think he should go out there and try to play. With it being a groin injury, just maybe try to keep him less mobile, have some extra protection in the pocket. But you got this game, it's a big game for Green Bay, and then you go and play in Chicago, and then you play San Fran. So I think you just try to be reasonable with what you ask him to do, and try to get the run game going also for sure. You don't want him out there trying to be Mr. Improviser.
Oh, yeah. We know with the knee and the groin,
Yes.
Jordan Love is not going to be in a position. Exactly. We could see Aaron Glenn and the Lions try to bring more pressure. So I just talked about them trying to play coverage. This could be one where they do get more aggressive, put that extra pressure on Jordan Love. Now, Josh Jacobs, we've seen him handle 20-plus carries multiple times this season. They're managing him. He had a bit of an ankle injury that kept him off the field the last possession against the Jaguars, so that could play into what they do as well if Jacobs isn't able to be that workhorse. But you focus on the Lions, and they're 2.5-point favorites in this game going in to Lambeau Field, and it's the play of Jared Goff. Dude, he's completing 83% of his passes in the last 5 games.
Insane.
Like, that's the insane level. And looking at this Lions offense, I'm sure they're talking about Jordan Love. They hit you in waves right now. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was special teams play last week for the Detroit Lions. And Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl. We saw Jared Goff, the Lions, blow an opportunity last year on the road in San Francisco in the second half. But I think at this point in time, we trust Detroit. We trust in Jared Goff. And this Lions team going into Green Bay, we have the Commanders at 6-2. I do want to talk about the Eagles today at 5-2 because I think that, Cowboy fan. The Eagles have turned a corner this season. But if the Lions beat the Packers, barring the other results of the weekend, are they the team that we need to say, hey, this is the best team in the NFC?
I think they're already the best team in the NFC.
Like, no doubt for you.
No, I mean, the way that they've been rolling over, everybody that they've been playing, it's been incredible. I think the biggest matchup going into the season we thought was going to be that rematch against the 49ers. And they went out there and they smoked them, So I think they have an incredible team, going out there. I'm looking at their schedule here. Played the Rams. They lost to the Bucs week 2. It's just one of those deals where they went out there, they smoked the 49ers. They just had an implosion in the second half. Just one of those lifetime, like, it's almost like the Yankees. It just big moments happen, and it just you remember it. Not necessarily to say that your team is bad or isn't better than 49ers, because again they routed them. It's just they weren't able to finish. So yeah, you look at their schedule. They got the Packers this week. They got the Texans next week, and again, like, you look at the Texans kind of silly now, with their loss coming to the New York Jets. So yeah, their schedule's not necessarily a bad one, and I think given the amount of dogs that they have, Penei Sewell, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jared Goff playing at an MVP level, I think he's I would ask you guys, is he your MVP right now on the season? Either him or Lamar. But the way that his play has elevated, it just brings this whole team together, and I think they're the best team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and they also, the brand of football they play, I feel like there's kind of like a little sweet spot that NFL teams want to get to, and it's really hard to do it just obviously with the cap and the draft and having to hit on draft picks. But they found that little sweet spot that a lot of great teams have found, where they play solid defense, and not only can they run the ball, but they can dominate the line of scrimmage to the point where if they wanted to run every single play of the game, they could maybe get away with it against most teams. So they have this balance, and that also is why Jared Goff's completion percentage is so high, because everyone is scared that they're going to run the ball. They can keep a fresh running back in at all times. So then he has one-on-one matchups with St. Brown, and then you still have Laporta, and they have a great system, and they can put you in the blender and make you play their brand of football. And I don't think there's any other team other than a healthy 49ers that could handle the style of football they play in the NFC, maybe, the NFL period.
I think that's why the Packers probably looking at this, trying to put the pressure in a positive way on Jordan Love to take the field, because they probably know they might need to get into a shootout with the Detroit Lions, the way that they're coming in, successful on offense, just laid it out what we're seeing. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs locked in, that balance and the consistency. And Matt LaFleur knows Jared Goff. He was an offensive coach on that staff back in Los Angeles early in his career, and the Rams went to the Super Bowl, so he knows what Jared Goff can do. So the Packers and Lions, one of the marquee games. But I want to keep it in the NFC when we come back on the other side, because I think the second best game is in terms of figuring out what a team could be. It's going to happen in Arizona this weekend. It's the which quarterback do you trust game. It's the number one overall pick, but it's Kyler Murray. His teammates are starting to buy in, and are the Cardinals in a position they can start putting their name into a team that we have to start thinking could win a playoff game this season, because that NFC West is wide open for the division winner. And this weekend for the NFC, there's some statements that could be made for teams heading into week 9 of the NFL season. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Right.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
Animal. We have you covered, as we did last night, Thursday Night Football, right here on the Sports Animal, where the Jets defeated the Houston Texans 21-13, and Aaron Rodgers and the Jets keep stringing you along, and we're actually talking, you know what, maybe we can buy into this team. Who else will we buy into? Saturday, it's college football. We have you covered right here on the Sports Animal. Oregon at Michigan, 1 p.m. coverage starts there. The Wolverines been all over the place offensively. Oregon trying to stay in contention of potentially be the number one seed in the new CFP this season, 12-team college football playoff. Got some more Big Ten action for you at 5 o'clock, Wisconsin at Iowa. Then Sunday, right here on the Sports Animal, we got it's afternoon and Sunday Night Football. We have the Eagles at the Jaguars. So Doug Peterson and the Jaguars trying to figure things out. As his former team, the Eagles, come in. The Eagles feeling pretty darn good, and I think the Eagles got to start paying attention to them again as a legit contender, 5-2 on this season. And then Sunday Night Football, a pressure game for Minnesota, trying to end a 2-game skid. The Vikings host Joe Flacco, Indianapolis Colts. You can hear all that action right here on the Sports Animal. We have the early game for you over on KTBL, The Pit, 94.5 FM. The Raiders at the Bengals, and you want to talk about a team that's in the same boat as the Jets, and that's Cincinnati. What you doing? And Joe Burrow said it's a must-win game this week. Yeah, you're 3-5. Want any chance to be in that wild card contention, you got to get that dub. And then Monday Night Football, it's an interesting one. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs at Kansas City. The Chiefs just continue to do what they do, 7-0. And Baker Mayfield, without his wide receiver, still put up numbers last week, but lost to the Falcons. Buccaneers are 4-4. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. Full house this morning on a football Friday. JJ Buck joined by Cy Riley, Isaiah holding it down. And guys, one of the games that really jumps out to me on the schedule, and I think that there's a lot of impactful NFC stuff that's going on this weekend, but it's that Arizona game. It's Kyler Murray as 1.5-point home favorites hosting the Chicago Bears, and how the Bears respond to that ending, the Hail Mary being dropped on them by Jaden Daniels. But it's also interesting to see this Arizona team continue to realize that they could be division winners this season. And as much as there's been talked about over the last few years about Kyler Murray's coming off the injury 2 years ago, got on the field, new coaching staff, everything seems to be in the right place. It's kind of like, all right, can Kyler be consistent? Can he be the guy that you lean on? And this Arizona team is starting to believe. And the Cardinals, they've won 3 of their last 4 games, and the victories have been with Kyler Murray leading a fourth quarter drive, setting up game-winning field goals. You got their left tackle, Paris Johnson. He said this week, quote, when you know the guy can make superhuman plays, you know you don't have to do anything special. You just have to do your job, that the trust is there for Kyler Murray. And I know this seems kind of hot and cold. What are they going to be defensively? But in this matchup with Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick coming in, a Chicago Bears team that's 4-3, the Cardinals 4-4. How much of this is going to be on the quarterbacks, and how much of this is going to be on complimentary football? Because, man, this could be a highlight show with the way these guys play quarterback.
Yeah, when you think about the Chicago Bears and you go back and you watch their game last week against the Commanders, like, that was a defensive showcase by both teams. So if, you coming into this matchup, you're still boasting the same defense of guys, and you're bringing them in against this Arizona Cardinals offense, I kind of expect it to be a Chicago Bears defensive game. And, when the Bears got on their winning streak, that was kind of a little bit of the offense, taking a little bit of pressure off of the defense, putting up 35 points, 36 points against the Jags and Panthers. And you look at their losses, 21 point or 6 scoring 16 points against the Colts, and 15 against the Commanders. Now the 15 was enough to get them the win all but 14 seconds of the game. So Jaden Daniels and the Commanders don't have a Hail Mary and connect on that. They win that game too. So yeah, I think this is a game for the Bears to go out and get, again, another road game for Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, for him to get his NFL career, off and running. He needs to put out a great showcase, on the road, as he's been able to do it at home with the fans behind him. And then, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Like, the Cardinals was my trick. One of those teams that I can see potential, but as of right now, like, it just doesn't stand out to me. I look at their losses, their 4 losses: the Bills, Lions, Packers. And at the start of the season, nobody was really talking to me. You lost to the Commanders. Like, oh, you lost to the Commanders. But what they've been doing over there in Washington is really impressive. So, again, another impressive, team that they played that they lost to. So I'm looking for this to be a defensive matchup. But if you're able to control the line of scrimmage, keep Swift from getting another 100 yards and, stop the connection between DJ Moore, I think that bodes well for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and also throwing back to yesterday, I picked the Bears as, I think they can come and shock the division. I think they could win some games. When I look at the Bears, I feel like they're always, although I haven't seen it enough yet, there's always that chance that Caleb could go out there, catch fire, and the Bears could score 35 points. So I always expect the Bears to do that. But then, as you said, JJ, the Cardinals won 3 of their last 4, and the last game they won by a point, and then before that they won by 2 points against the Chargers, and then they beat the 49ers by a point, and then you have the Bears just lost in the Hail Mary. So if this game ends up being close, I feel like the Cardinals have shown they're more disciplined in close games. So as long as the Bears can keep this from being like a last possession, last second game, I do think they have a solid chance to win this. But also, like I said, Caleb could go out and score 30, and I feel like he has the talent, and I'm a Caleb homer, so I would be confident in picking the Bears in this game.
Yeah, this is such a fun matchup when you look at it, too, the way Kyler Murray's playing. He had over 300 yards passing in that game against the Dolphins on the road, 2 touchdowns. They seem to be getting more comfortable in the ways that Marvin Harrison Jr. can be effective in the offense, the type of wide receiver that he is. Both these teams are stacked with weapons on the perimeter, and defensively, I'd lean to Chicago. And as you pointed out, Si, I think that's what could be the difference in this game. And you look at what the Bears are doing. Yeah, they're 4-3 with upside, but that's a crazy division. Right now, the NFC North is the best division in football. And even these games where it's not division, we're not focused on that. Like, these are what you need to climb the ladder. And Chicago, I'm always interested in, how much last week plays into the next week. I think like a game like Sunday, as much as it hurt the Bears to lose the way that they did, does that last more for the fans? Or at what point in time are you able to move on from that in the locker room? Because obviously these guys were asked about it all week, about moving on from it. And you had, Tremaine Edmonds, Bears linebacker, says you can't dwell in the past or you're going to trip going forward. You got the cornerback, Jalen Johnson, say, the biggest thing is just learning from it, not letting it linger. So in a locker room, is it easy to move on from something like that? Or is a last-second loss one of those things that it's hard to have that 24-hour rule about?
Yeah, it's definitely it's a shock factor to that. When you lose, I can just go back to State of playing State last year. We get down, we're playing them, we score a touchdown, it becomes a one possession game. We flip fields going into the fourth quarter, and 3 plays later they get an 80-yard touchdown, and now it's a 10-point game, 27-17. With about 10 minutes left in the fourth. And it just, it crushes you, even though that wasn't, last play of the game. Like, plays like that, especially when you're climbing back the whole way and then you get over the top and you feel like, okay, here we go, we're about to take this, we're about to go out here and earn the victory. And, a team has a miraculous play that gets you in, back into that mode of like, oh, snap, here we go. So, no, it's definitely one of those things that you just try and focus on, the next week. Do all the same habits that got you into the position to where you felt that, you were going to take control of the outcome of the game, and then, just continue to harp on that, continue to press upon those things. And eventually, once you get that win the next week, you don't even remember. It just becomes a asterisk. Again, we were so close. It's a lot better to go out there and earn the win the next week than to just dwell in the past and be like, oh, we were a play away from winning the football game, because that doesn't serve you. So yeah, as long as you're what's the growth mindset? As long as you're thinking about the next week, and you go out there and you earn it the next week, you'll forget about the past.
I think this is going to be hard for a couple of groups. It's going to be hard for Caleb to get over. It's going to be hard for the fans, and then the specific DB, Tyreek Stevenson, because he did the right thing. So the accountability he showed makes it easier for his teammates to get over it. Now, as far as for him,
I'm just not paying attention to the play, chirping at the fence.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
My bad.
And the Bears were down 12-0, and they came back and they took the lead. So as far as their morale, and that's why I said Caleb, because I'm sure he feels like, come on, I got down the field, I put us in the end zone, and it's not like everyone was focused. As you said, this guy was chirping at the crowd, he had his back turned. So I think that it's on him to use that going forward. And as for the fans, of course, we're always, as fans, we're going to be upset with our team for doing things like that. But in the locker room, I'm sure they wanted him to apologize. He owned up to it. I'm sure he's doing that behind closed doors. So I think the Bears as a team, they have to have that next game mindset and the short-term memory when it comes to that. But he needs to use that lesson always for the rest of his career, life if needed. That's just one of those moments that you can learn from.
Yeah, this is a game where Chicago should have the advantage on defense, and they have playmakers back there. And Jalen Johnson's been a guy that's locking down other number one wide receivers. Just got Tyreek Stevenson. He has 6 pass breakups on the season, which leads the Bears. So he's been a playmaker that just all the focus was on him, because we saw that video, and the video wasn't just the amazing catch because of the volleyball tip from the scrum. It was also him running down, not paying attention, chirping at the fans, because that was 100%. That game was over. The Bears are winning, and then now you have to go in with the loss. And there's a lot more into that too. And it was the handoff at the goal line to an offensive lineman.
That was just sad. That was just sad.
Like, how are you feeling too about that for your team? And speaking of accountability, their offense coordinator, Shane Waldron, said that, yes, we look at every play this week, but he added, quote, but also going back to that play, I have all the confidence in the world in our players. And I think something we've repped and worked on came up in the moment as a 3rd-and-1 call, and it didn't work out. I could just, like...
Doesn't even make sense to me. Like, again, you battle the whole game. You get up there. Caleb was leading a great drive. You have a couple of penalties that get you, from being behind the sticks, that get you first downs. They had a pass interference on the possession. They had a couple of defensive holds. So you're battling. Spectacular grabs by DJ Moore. And you get all the way to the end zone, and then it's like, okay, yeah, let's give it to the offensive tackle. When DeAndre Swift is having a great game, when they're punishing, especially just like it messes with your sidekick a little bit your psyche a little bit because, again, you battle the whole way. There's 3 minutes left in the game, and then it's like, all right, we're going to hand it to our big offensive tackle, and it's like, for what reason? Like,
there's one you could probably say, all right, you do that in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but at that point, you got Roshan Johnson, who's converted from inside the 5 all season long. You got DeAndre Swift out there. That is doing too much.
Don't make no sense.
Getting too cute.
It's because they practiced it. It's because they practiced it. So because they were repping it, they then felt like it wasn't just a crazy scenario to use that play. He's thinking, oh, we've done it in practice. Let's go for it. And then this offensive tackle, of course, is going to freak out in game situation.
Right. Time and place. There's a ton on the weeknight info slate, and we got you covered on a Football Friday, breaking it all down for you right here on the Sports End. We come back on the other side. Why does it keep happening? Just hold on to the football. Cross the goal line. Get the touchdown. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs.
Football Friday. We're going to talk some hoops as well. Jeff Kramer, Albuquerque Journal, coming up at 9 o'clock this morning. OD here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Cy Riley, Isaiah with you. Let's go. 505-246-0610, Sports Animal hotline and text line. Go to the phones. Chad, what's up, man? You're on the opening drive. How's it going, Chad?
Yeah, I heard you talking about the end of the Chicago-Washington game, and I was watching the game, and what drove me nuts about that is just the week before, I saw Kansas City in the same situation. You know, they have a chance for a Hail Mary, and what did I forget their Schwartz, their D coordinator, had somebody blitz. I was like, and then it put pressure, at least made the quarterback uncomfortable. And I was just wondering, I'm like, you got three big guys rushing for Chicago and 8 guys back. Why not have 6 guys back and 2 smaller guys that are quick that can run around some of those offensive linemen and create some pressure, or even just one. You'd have 7 guys back just to make it more difficult, because he had all the time in the world. And you got to go for it a little bit on that and just make them uncomfortable. What do you guys think about that?
All right, appreciate the phone call, Chad. And, of course, we got some defenders around me this morning. But, Cy, what were some of the things that you guys talked about in terms of Hail Mary defense? I've got to believe it also plays into where you are on the field. And I think the play before that where they hit Terry McLaurin on the out route, which got them closer, was huge. That was an easy out for Terry McLaurin, because that throw from Jaden Daniels, we know he's not 100%. And, you know, he got it down there just short of the goal line. But, again, no pressure. Is that one maybe you just put a bunch of linebackers out there, maybe just bring 4, but have those guys able to run around a little bit more? What are some of the defensive strategies for Hail Mary?
Yeah, so if I was ever a defensive coordinator, I would implement this umbrella strategy, right? I would have a guy defending the sideline at the sticks. I'd have another guy about 7 yards inside of him, farther back, playing for out corner routes. I'd have my 2 safeties in the middle on the hash, 1 guy in between, and that's about 7 defenders right there. Then I'd have 1 linebacker underneath, 4 rushing the passer. We repped it as the Lobos. We repped it every single Thursday practice. Hail Mary. You'd have your Lobo. He's back, and he's playing for the ball. Everybody else is boxing out their defenders because it's so rare that they call pass interference on that play because, again, it's just an entire mob down in the end zone. Like, you could call pass interference on it, but obviously, that would kind of I don't want to say go against the game, but, man, like, who you've never seen that, so why would we start a precedent for that now? So yeah, we would have 1 defender back to Lobo, and he would be the only one allowed to jump for the ball. Everybody else would be boxing out their defenders. I would go, and me and Luke, we would have fun because he'd be running down. Obviously, we do 1 play for the offense, for them to get a Hail Mary, then we turn around and do 1 for the defense. And on the defensive side, I'd be like, Luke, I'm going to box you. And I just run it, and I literally just grab him, and I would try and push him out the end zone, push him away.
Right, like, just put it on the – like, you want to make this call at this point in time, ref? Let's see it.
Yeah, like literally. And, they could definitely call it, but, that's just how we did it.
Yeah, and I was a defensive lineman, so I didn't really have to know exactly what their plan was back there too much, but what I can say is that when I was playing D-end, I was about 235, 240. So I would usually be out there in, they call it cheetah package, where what Chad said, like you have 2 faster guys on the outside, and then honestly, even you have like a more athletic defensive tackle, and you just try to make the quarterback, try to force him into a bad pass, but you also want to make sure you keep contained. And it's hard to do that when you have big pass rushers because then he can break the pocket, which makes a Hail Mary way more dangerous and a lot more likely to be completed.
4th quarter defense, end of game scenarios, breaking it down for you right here on the opening drive. We come back on the other side. We're going to dive into that football game out at University Stadium on Saturday. Lobos, Wyoming, New Mexico, 7.5-point favorites. How do they get it done? How do they keep the swagger? How do they keep the confidence going against the Pokes? Let's dive into that next here in the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today. If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies. Past
with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bond.
I'm looking at a Thanksgiving sub. Right, here's our sweet deal today coming up. Firehouse subs in the house. It is November, y'all.
It is.
Lee, man. That works. Thanksgiving sub. That's what we all do anyway. You just smash it onto a roll during Thanksgiving dinner, the day after Thanksgiving dinner, the entire weekend. Firehouse Subs got you covered with their Thanksgiving sub. We're going to have that sweet deal for you coming up. About 8:20, the deal will go live 9 a.m. on our website. And we're grubbing. I know. I saw you sprinting. You sprinted to the break room.
As soon as you told me there's Firehouse, I ran back there, and I knew I was up against the time, so I grabbed a Thanksgiving as well. I took a quick little bite here, and it was fire. It was fire. I was a little skeptical, but it passes the test.
I know I saw you're back home, but you got to come back to Albuquerque one morning.
There's
subs.
I've had the Firehouse twice in my life, and both times it was excellent, I will say.
So we got you covered this morning. That's a sweet deal, and we'll have plenty for you on that one. But it's Football Friday. It's sports. It's what we do. How you doing? We were able to get to sleep last night. How much candy did you eat? The tax from taking the little ones trick or treating. A lot of chocolate. I will say, guys, the candy handout yesterday, the neighborhood we were in, on point. It was just a ton of Reese's, Snickers, Kit Kat, gummy bears, and not a lot of unnecessary filler.
Like no dots.
Like people were on point with the candy this season.
No candy corn.
Candy corn is fantastic. How dare you slander candy?
You like candy corn or the pumpkins?
I like both.
Okay. I can handle the pumpkins.
No,
I'll pass in the candy corn.
That's how you know both of y'all are old, because I don't like either.
Candy corn, yeah. Candy corn is fantastic. I will stand for candy corn. I'm part of Candy Corn Nation. I'm going to hit up the store after the show and see what's on clearance. Absolutely. I'm going to buy up the rest for the rest of the year.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So I have my stash that will take me into next season. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck joined by Cy Riley. Isaiah holding it down behind the glass. We've got Adrian. You can watch the show on ProView Network, streaming online, of course, Xfinity Channel 26. Appreciate all y'all for hanging out with us this morning and tomorrow at University Stadium. It's 2 p.m. kickoff. 1 p.m. pregame show. Robert Portnoy, Downtrail Moore, myself, and the quarterback, Ned James, will have the breakdown for you starting at 1 o'clock over on News Radio KKOB. But you got the 3-5 Lobos, 2-2 in Mountain West play. The Cowboys, 1-7 overall, 1-3, struggling post Craig Bowl. And that's a big hit. And you're losing just a coach that was such a presence in Craig Bowl. They're trying to figure it out. But the Lobos are 7.5-point favorites. And how do the Lobos respond from last week's game in which they didn't score a touchdown? First time all season that they did not score a touchdown. And we've been hyper-focused on the offense because there was a time that's what this team, you believed in. Okay, let me slow down. You still believe in the offense, but it was, man, I don't know if the defense is going to be able to make a play. So there's just so much more pressure on the offense. And you had 3 straight wins, 3 straight games, 50 or more points. And then you come out with Colorado State, and it's a 17-6 game. So you go into this game, and you trust Devin Dampier to turn around. And I like what he had to say when he was talking with the media this week of understanding, the turnovers have to slow down. He had a bad fumble inside the 5-yard line where it was a quarterback keep. He put it on the ground. He's trying to be aggressive in the pass game, but I think that's the one thing, as awesome as Devin has been, he's been the reason the Lobos are in this situation with the total offense, passing, and running. It's cleaning things up. And to me, it starts there because the Colorado State game is going to be similar to the Wyoming game. They're going to be physical. They're going to want to slow it down. They want to try to limit the possessions that you have. And, it just starts there. Cleaning it up offensively, turnovers, can't have it. And then, man, the penalties, it's a little bit of a bugaboo for this football team.
Yeah, they rank 117th in the nation in turnover margin with -17, and then last in the nation in penalties per game with 10 penalties per game. So, yeah, those are 2 team stats that you look at that you gotta fix. Whether that's for this season in the long run. Obviously, you still have a very good odds and chance of getting to a bowl game, winning the next 3 out of the 4. So, yeah, those 2 things, team stats, they need to clean up. Offense has been killing it, though. They're 32nd in the nation on third down percentage with 44%, and then top 10 in total offense with 468 yards per game. So, the offense has been a great reason why, they've been able to get on the win streak. Obviously they lost last week to Colorado State, but I expect them to turn around and fix that. Devin has been amazing, over 2,000 yards passing, and then 9 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. So again, that just goes back to the turnovers and the defense. They've been 122nd on third down defense, 47% conversion, 130 in the nation in total defense, with giving up 478 yards. Now that kind of goes back to playing, Auburn and Arizona, where those teams, those numbers are a little bit skewed. But again, we can. There are some things that the Lobos can fix. Definitely, offense needs to be better in passing efficiency, with a 124 rating. So yeah, they have areas for improvement, and I expect them to improve, especially on Wyoming, a team that can be compromised. Both in the pass game and run game. They have stout run defenders, but being able to air the ball out against them with Luke, with Trace, with Buckley, with Ryan Davis, C-Med, like all of the guys, all the tangibles that they have. This could be a shootout, but more so on the good end for the Lobos.
Yeah, and this is a Lobo team that defensively they were able to take advantage of an offense that was struggling in Colorado State, but they got off the field because I look at the other games. New Mexico State scored 40 against them. Air Force scored 37 against them. Those weren't good offenses. So they did take a step forward by limiting Colorado State as much as they did. And one of those touchdowns was a special teams play. It was a punt return touchdown for the Rams. So you look at all those numbers to this point, but the Louisville defense, they did get off the field. Colorado State was just 5 of 13 on third down, held them just 334 yards of total offense. And I think it's going to be more of that style of game this weekend because Wyoming they're just going to try to run the football. They have a question at the quarterback position. Caden Anderson was 15 of 24, 182 yards. They haven't been able to create explosive plays. They got the running quarterback, Svoboda, that's been in there just a little bit. So it's easier for the Lobo defense to hone in on that rush game. There's always that, you're just thinking in the back of your mind, you've seen them give up some big plays to teams like New Mexico State and Air Force, but the turning point, can the Colorado State game be that turning point? You get the confidence, you're able to slow the game down, and it just goes to cleaning it up. And, the penalties, that's not a talent thing. That's, third down. There were 5 penalties on third down that turned a third and short into a third and long.
Yeah.
For the Lobo offense. They also had a procedure penalty when they set up for field goal attempt, pushed them back. They missed the field goal in that game. And guys, as players, is that just individual mindset? And when you're struggling like that, you're having the penalties, like you're last in the nation right now in penalties. Like, is it the coaches that I'm sure are harping on it, but does that just come down to each dude? Like, what happens that keeps happening?
And this is one of the biggest things that I'm trying to figure out just now. Of course, I'm a Cowboys fan, and they can't help but get the penalties. And I was doing a high school game last night on this same channel, and there's a bunch of penalties. And all I know is this. I mean, every team's different, and it also depends on the players because there are 100% players who are more likely to jump off sides, or you have players that will have the tendency to have the false start. But the biggest thing is that usually what we see in a game is typically it's going to show itself at some point in practice. So usually coaches, what they'll do is if it keeps happening and they do a good job at fixing the penalties, that's by like bringing in a referee to practice. I know some teams have referees all the time. Cy, I don't know at the Division I level if you guys maybe always had a ref at practice or never, but sometimes coaches will bring refs in and they will, call the scrimmages or the team segments as if it's a game. And then what coaches will do is they'll tally up those penalties. And then at the end of practice, you have to run for it or you have to do some type of punishment for it. And then psychologically, that forces you to acknowledge the penalties because you don't want to do the extra running at the end of practice. And then also your teammates are holding you accountable because then, if you get an offsides or if you jump and get a false start, now the whole offense has to do, or the whole defense has to do whatever the punishment is. So it forces accountability on your players. So that's how I know coaches will fix it a lot of times.
Yeah, we had referees during our fall camp session at every single practice, trying to, again, get some of those penalties out of there, show the new rules and things like that we'll be seeing during the course of the season. When it came to end season, though, Coach G, and I kind of agree with this, always said that live ball penalties, that's just what happens. You play football, they could call holding on every play. As a defender, they could call holding on every play, yet they don't. Same thing, pass interference. Like, there's just going to be, during the course of a game, during the course of a play, there's going to be penalties on every single play. It's very rare that, again, that you don't. Now, the dead ball penalties is stuff that you got to eliminate. That's the false starts. That's the unnecessary roughness. That's the targeting, or not necessarily the targetings, but the quarterback, hits, the late quarterback hits, the late sideline hits, things like that. That kind of, the tauntings, all that stuff that can't happen. And so, yeah, you get through the course of a game, you're going to get penalized because that's just how football is. The same thing in basketball. You're going to get fouled because that's just how the game goes. Just what do you do with those yards? Try and eliminate all the, get your hidden yardage as small as possible to where it's not affecting the game in tremendous ways where you get, a 15-yard pass completion, yet they call holding, so now you got to go back 10 yards, and that's 25 yards of hitting yardage. So, yeah, there's things that they'll address, and I'm sure the coaches, will talk about. The biggest thing we ran for was loafs, and not pursuing the ball. So, yeah, there's things that can definitely be addressed, and being last in the nation in penalties per game is something that I'm sure no team ever wants to be.
No, and I think you guys are right. It's the dead ball penalties are the ones, the false starts, the procedure issues, legal formation, motion, all those things that that's not a talent issue. That's not getting beat or getting you said holding someone so you don't give up the big play. All those things that happen in the course of the game. It's control what you can control, and that's definitely dead ball penalties, pre-snap penalties for this Lobo offense because there's still so much pressure on that side of the football to be the reason why as they try to figure out can they play better complementary football down the stretch. Now, I do want to talk about more of the offensive side of the football when we come back, as Devin Dampier has been awesome, but he could be without his best weapon again, and we saw it without Luke Weissong in the majority of the game against Colorado State. The running backs, there's some guys in turquoise jerseys this week. That means non-contact, potentially not playing. So how do they step up around Devin Dampier as home favorites with Wyoming coming to town tomorrow? It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by
the vintage glow of Route 66, built by generations.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong and we're still as local as red and green.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal, to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
For joining us this morning. So the Lobos are 7.5-point favorites. And the offense still going to have some question marks. Luke Wysong, big old Q by his name after going out early, injury against Colorado State. The running back room has some questions as well. Look at Rogers was dinged up. Ron Jacobs is in a sling right now. But you got Eli Sanders. You got Devin Dampier, Sol Jemabe, Peters, options there. But in the passing game, Michael Buckley stepped up in a big way, had a big game. Bronco Mendenhall on the opening drive on Monday really praised the work ethic and taking advantage of that opportunity. Ryan Davis has been a solid. But Sal, you look at this offense, and Luke Wysong has been awesome this season, but injuries have happened. How does this group step up, respond after not scoring a touchdown? Yeah, you're going to be down some bodies again, but knowing that you have that creator at quarterback and being able to play clean football turnover-wise and still create some explosive plays, looking for some other guys to step up.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've kind of been saying Michael Buckley is such a talented dude. He just had the injury bug a lot in his career, but man, when he's out there on the field, like sophomore year, he was just torching us on scout team. Just with his cuts, with his explosion, his hand-eye coordination. He's one of those guys that, again, when he was given the opportunity against Colorado State, took the advantage of it. What did Jameis Winston say? He quoted Eminem, this opportunity once in a lifetime. So, he was able to do the same. And yeah, you're gonna rely on different guys. Luke's been amazing this season. Just the amount of targets that he's gotten, the contested catches, the coverage, teams having to shift the coverage towards him and account for him. He's been the go-to guy for Devin. So yeah, you're gonna rely on guys like Ryan Davis, who again, he has so many years of experience of playing college football. So I'm not surprised by his play at all. New guys like Michael Buck, C-Med, him being a reliable option, just a possession guy. Trace, I expect him to get a little bit more in the fold. So yeah, you're going to rely on different guys to keep this passing attack alive. And, when you have a playmaker like Devin who can stretch the field, who can, get outside the pocket, create rushing lanes, man, the sky's the limit, and obviously if they don't have the number one guy, they still got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that can get the job done.
Getting the job done. We'll continue to break down this game tomorrow, Lobos and Cowboys. What got the job done this morning? What got the job done for Isaiah? Because he was sprinting down that hallway. Firehouse Subs is in the house. It's today's sweet deal. And for just $25, you can get yourself $50 worth of Firehouse Subs. Lucas in the house, owner of the Albuquerque and Santa Fe locations. First off, thank you for this awesome sub. There's few things that go together like a Thanksgiving meal on one plate, but on one sandwich, it's a home run.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me as your sweet deal, and I'm glad that you like this sub. It's been a big hit. You could tell it's got that carved turkey breast on there. So it's not like a sliced turkey. It's like a real carved turkey breast, and then we make that stuffing fresh every day. So you have hot stuffing on that sandwich too, with some cranberry sauce, and it's been a big hit. Hope all of our listeners could come out and try one of these Thanksgiving Day subs at Firehouse Subs.
Of course, it calendar just flips to November.
Yep.
Limited time. Enjoy it. There's nothing better because you're eating Thanksgiving, right? And you enjoy it, but you look forward to the day after when you make that sandwich.
There you go. It's
You
like
do.
leftovers all month long, all the way up to Thanksgiving. So you can get your fix right now. But it's a great tasting sub. I mean, everyone that I've talked to really enjoys it, and it's flying out the doors. We're having to order more product.
It should be your go-to right now.
Yeah,
it absolutely
There you
should
go.
be your go-to.
It's my go-to.
The ratio is perfect on it. Like I'm surprised. There's not too much stuffing. There's not too much turkey.
It's the balance, right?
Yes.
It's got everything in the turkey, the stuffing, the cranberry sauce on that toasted sub roll. But also, man, you guys have so many options for people. What I'm all about too at any time now is ordering ahead and making sure that I need to be places where I can get my food. You guys have that with the Firehouse Subs Rapid Rescue to go on the app. Get your food, get in, and get out.
And wanted to bring this up. If you order on the app, we have right now $6 snacker subs. So it's a super value. You can get sandwiches like a jalapeno turkey or a chicken cordon bleu for only $6. It's a 6-inch sandwich. It's a great meal, great value. Order ahead. We'll have it ready for you so you don't have to wait in any lines.
I know one of the things too is you hear Firehouse Subs that you guys are all in with first responders.
Absolutely.
And how does that relationship work for you guys?
Well, it's a big part of the brand where we raise money and we donate it back to not just first responders, but like veterans needs and things like that. Any type of life-saving capability, like equipment we do. Donated to almost every police department in New Mexico, like AEDs. It's just a lot of life-saving equipment. For me, it's kind of personal. My brother's a fireman here in New Mexico, so it's a big part of the brand. But also for me personally, it was a big part of me choosing the franchise with the concept.
Well, there's so many things that you see companies do, but you can tell like this matters to people. Like this directly affects all of us. And that first responder equipment, life-saving equipment, you can help out. You just buy a sandwich.
Yeah, buy a sandwich. A portion of the proceeds goes to the Public Safety Foundation. And there's nothing better than working the cash register and having a police officer come up to you and say, hey, I just used your AED to save a woman's life. And, those are true stories that happen all the time at Firehouse Subs. And so I want to thank all the customers that ever donated. Just wanted to let you know that it does matter and it does save lives in your community.
And today, you get a sweet deal for just $25. You get yourself $50 worth of Firehouse Subs. And you guys are all over Albuquerque, Santa Fe.
Yep, 5 locations in Albuquerque and 1 up in Santa Fe.
So you can get yourself a great lunch. This turkey Thanksgiving sub is the bomb. We're eating that this morning. We were racing out there. I'm sure you got, like, right when you walked in, you were just swarmed, I bet, with all of us here.
You can smell it coming up the elevator.
Everyone's jealous, but you don't have to be jealous because you have this sweet deal this morning. Go to our website at 9 a.m. You got to get there quick. Like, be there before 9 a.m. to log in and get this sweet deal. $25 would get you $50 worth of Firehouse Subs. Of course, order on the app. You can get one of those $6 snackers. All the proceeds that you guys do from your sales as well. So much good stuff going on. Lucas, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming
thanks
in.
for having me and being a part of the sweet deal. Thank you to all the customers for participating in this deal today. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That is our sweet deal. 9 a.m. It goes live for just $25. Get yourself $50 worth of Firehouse Subs. We come back on the other side. We'll keep it rolling with Lobo football and Wyoming and look around the Mountain West Conference as well. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This message brought to you by
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong and we're still as local as red and green.
Hi, my name is Ruben and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Got shots?
The sports animal.
And as we stuff our face with these turkey subs, I did all break. Fantastic, by the way. Love it. Their Sweet Dildo Day Firehouse subs goes live 9 a.m. Get to our website, sportsanimalabq.com. For just $25, get yourself $50 worth of Firehouse subs to enjoy. You can take them to the tailgate tomorrow out there at University Stadium at 2 p.m. Supposed to be a nice day. Maybe get up into the 70s. I will take it. Yes, I will. For Wyoming coming to town. Lobos 7.5-point favorites. Look around the Mountain West. Big one tonight. Well, it's a big one for Boise, but they're 23.5-point favorites. They'll be fine against San Diego State. But to stay undefeated in conference play, stay in the driver's seat to be the Group of 5 representative in the first 12-team college football playoff this year. Got Air Force at Army. Got Hawaii at Fresno State. Colorado State at Nevada. That's an interesting one. Nevada's played so much better this season than people expected. You have former Wolfpack head coach Jay Norvell taking his Rams in there. And the Rams are 3-0, man, in Mountain West play. It's take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of you. And for the Lobos, they're home favorites against the Wyoming team that they've split the last 4 meetings with. It's JJ Buck, joined by the former Lobo, Cy Riley. Got Isaiah holding it down. And Cy, you were talking yesterday that there's just something about this matchup. You guys were just confident. You believed in yourself against Wyoming. How much of that was maybe the style of play, just stepping up, knowing, hey, I'm ready to be physical in this physical game, and then how much of that too was just one where you guys realized that, hey, we could be the more talented team on the football field today?
I think a little bit of both. I'm as a run defender, or as a linebacker, I was more of a run defender. I like when teams, try to run the ball down our throats. I liked playing Air Force. I like playing Wyoming. I like the one competition of playing Colorado State that I had. I just like when teams just feel like they can run the ball. For whatever reason, I mean, I like to be sore. I like the pain of it. I like the taking somebody's will to run the ball, making them throw the ball. I don't know. I always believed our secondary group was fantastic. For my time there, we had Dante, we had Jarek, Tavian, who else? J-Lou, D-Lo. Like we just all AJ. We always had great DBs. So I always felt like they just needed a little extra workout, game day workout. Try and get these teams to throw the ball against them, and if they ran the ball, my direction, just try and put a hat on a hat and make them feel the pain of what it takes to establish physical dominance. So yeah, I don't know. And then when it came to Wyoming, I don't know, something just makes my blood boil when it comes to playing Wyoming. I don't know why, but I just don't one of those schools that kind of passed up on me. I just don't like Wyoming. So
did you have some interest from the Pokes?
Yeah, but I could go and I could go grab the stuff right here to my right, and I'm not. But when we went up there and we played them, I took one of the Cowboys off the lockers. They had a big old Cowboy sticker decal. I took it home because and I was the only one to do it, but I just was like, nah, man. Like, I don't know. I just don't like Wyoming. I just don't.
That's all right. I think it's one of those, especially with the changes of the last few years when it was the West and Mountain Division in the Mountain West Conference. This is one of the teams you're playing every single year. And it's Air Force and Colorado State and Wyoming. And you know what? The one thing, Wyoming, this is the team. The Lobos have the second most wins against in their history of the program.
Oh, really?
So they played a lot of games against them. They've been successful against them. And it's a big bounce back opportunity tomorrow as home favorites. The offense, being without some of the playmakers. But I'm expecting a big bounce back from Devin Dampier because I do appreciate the way that he talked about it this week. He's just, about the turnovers. And yeah, you're trying to win a game, but you have to play clean football. And Devin said this week, talking to the media, quote, "At the end of the day, I find it unacceptable. The turnovers definitely need to slow down. I'm just giving away drives, but I'm focused on just being better with the ball, knowing what I'm doing and protecting the ball." And you got to realize, too, like, this is a first-year starter. This is still a sophomore quarterback that's already shown this level of play. I do think the team is all bought in inside. You were talking about just being around him last year, and he didn't play a lot of reps, with Dylan Hopkins last season. But even in just that moment, you guys saw there was something with Dampier.
Yeah, the flashes of brilliance, his freshman year, going against him in practice, especially when they were trying to, save D-Hop's arm as we got closer to the, first game against Texas A&M. Devin was incredible, and I think Lobo Nation's, seeing that obviously during the spring game, all they saw was, Devin take every single rep, and that kind of led to, the season that he's having, just being able to get experience within a new offense coordinator, experience within this new offensive scheme with an entirely new group of offensive linemen. So I think the luxury is that he was able to keep the chemistry with the wide receivers and, still work with them throughout his entire progression in this new offensive scheme. So, yeah, it's no surprise. I think if we can go back to August, no surprise that he's having a standout year. Just his off-platform throws, him being able to extend plays, use his legs to beat defenders, create more rushing lanes for guys like Eli Sanders to just go ahead and dominate. So, yeah, it's been incredible to watch. Great as a friend, too, to watch, all your other former teammates continue to compete at the highest level. So it's dope.
Opportunity tomorrow for the Lobos at home. That's 3-5. They've won 3 of the last 4. 4 games left. This team sniffing bowl eligibility. We got to get this one tomorrow against Wyoming. 505-246-0610. That's Sports Animal Hotline and text line this morning. So you're going to see this talked about all day long. It's one of the headlines on the national stage. And is it something or nothing? We'll dive into that next. It's the opening drive here on the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by Allstate.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong and we're still as local as red and green.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Something or nothing. And when there's noise around this certain team, it's extra noisy. This time, it's not coming from the owner. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, Cy Riley, Isaiah with you. on a Football Friday and Everything Friday. We got Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, coming up at 9 a.m. We're talking hoops, but they've been doing a lot of football coverage. Jeff has jumped in on that. Sean Ryder with the Journal. He's got you covered on everything here on the opening drive. So you're going to see this on the big shows all day long because I saw it popping up on my screen this morning. And I got to get your guys' thoughts on this. Something or nothing, because we might have mentioned it this week. So Micah Parsons does a podcast. The Edge podcast. Micah Parsons, T. Diggs, they're talking quarterbacks. Top quarterbacks in the game. You know who's all about that quarterback? Trell Owens knows how to play that game. That's my quarterback. However, when it comes to the top quarterbacks in the game, Parsons and Diggs, they didn't talk about Dak Prescott. They didn't talk about the dude that just got paid in Dallas. Now, was that just, hey, we know our guy's good, so we're going to talk about the rest? But they know better than that, guys. They know this is going to create drama. This is going to cause headlines. It's going to have those know-nothing reporters like myself asking questions.
You know what's so bad about this one is I think both of these guys, they're so far gone as far as the common sense with, with how the public eye looks at them. I think they have a little bit of that Kyrie Irving in them when they really just don't care and they're going to stick to how they think and how they feel. And they're oblivious to the public eye's perception. And I know both of these guys, they're very big on like making lists and top tens, and they're fans of the game. Micah grew up a Cowboys fan, but they're both fans of the game. And this is not the first time Micah has left Dak off a list. I think the last time it was the top 5. But this is when Dak was playing at like an MVP level, and they still didn't have him top 5. I just think they truly don't believe he's top 10. Like, I think they were just going to be honest. I think that's how they really feel about it. I don't think they necessarily care if Dak is offended by it. I'm sure if he is, they want it to motivate him. They know Dak better than we do, so I'm sure if this was something that would have really messed with his mind or really, altered a relationship, they wouldn't have done it, or they would have thought to add him on there. But I think Dak's one of the hardest people to get to take something personal. He just seems to let everything roll off his shoulders, and I think that's become a bad thing. But I think that's the state of mind he lives in. I think they're aware of that.
This is the type of journalism that I love because there is no misinformation. They are objective. They're telling the truth. Look, man, Dak is not a top 10 quarterback, and I know, Zay, you're a Cowboys fan. My parents are Cowboys fans. Mm-hmm. But no, when you look at it from the course of the season, like the Cowboys record does not say top 10 quarterback. You look at guys, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts this year, like Sam Darnold. You have guys up and down these NFL teams' rosters where you would probably take them this year over Dak Prescott. So I don't think that they're wrong. I think they're being objective. I think I commend them, really, even if it's leaving your teammate off the list. Now, to your point, if that's what's going to push Dak over the edge, if that's going to what gets, makes Dak get in his bag and just, go out and have 40-point, offensive outings and throws for 350 yards and CDs eating and, all these Rico Dow, if everybody's eating, then, yeah, by all means, that's what you got to do. That's the buttons you got to push. But I don't think they're wrong.
And this is one where I agree with pieces of it, but then I also say all Cowboy fans do is scream about Jerry Jones.
Yep.
Causing too much noise. Mm-hmm. And he needs to stop talking every week. He needs to get out of the way. Well, this is noise that gets in the way too. So this isn't one you can just point at Jerry Jones and say, hey, I'm going to blame this on Jerry. Because I think most football fans and Cowboy fans would agree with the take that Dak hasn't been a good quarterback this season. He hasn't played at a top 10 level, even though they just gave him the bag. But this is just that unnecessary noise that you don't need right now. Like, you're not good enough to keep trying to overcome all this off the field stuff, whether it's you want to press reporters for not playing, putting Dak Prescott under the microscope, which I think is fine, but you're just doing what everyone is blaming your owner for, is getting in the way, is adding the unnecessary stuff. Now, I do agree with the point that I think Dak is actually built to handle this.
He is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to upset him because he has not played good football. He's turning the football over a ton. But it just, to me, it plays into who the Cowboys are because of Jerry Jones.
Exactly, and that's where I was going to go with it. It's not directly Jerry, but there's a culture that is built there. And even with Jerry being the way he is, if you brought in, let's just say, obviously it's not going to happen, but let's just say Mike Tomlin was the head coach. The players, Micah Parsons wouldn't feel comfortable having a podcast. If Belichick was the coach, Micah Parsons would not be so comfortable having a podcast because things like this can happen. And also, I think this is a sign that the players are, you see this with CeeDee Lamb too. The players seem to be on the same page with everybody else about Dak Prescott, but they never directly throw him under the bus. So I do give them some sort of credit for that, but, you know, you've heard them hint at things like, oh, we have to cut down the turnovers, and they'll say little things and drop little nuggets that they're all wanting Dak to step it up, but they're doing a good job at not directly throwing him under the bus. But what we saw here is Micah and Trevon saying, well, I'm not going to lie. You know, we're not going to sit here and lie about who I think the good quarterbacks are. If Dak wants to be top 5, he's got to play top 5.
Got to earn that contract. Now he's got it. That guaranteed money is in the bank. That signing bonus, it's locked in. But they know that Dak Prescott has to play cleaner football because they don't have the offense that they've had in the last few years where it's just going to click. Like, Dak has got to step it up. But there's just more noise for the Dallas Cowboys. And they have the Falcons this weekend. You know, Kirk Cousins and that offense licking their chops to try to attack that Cowboys defense. You keep making that face. But the Cowboys got to step up and show. Maybe a little pressure on Dak from his teammates will get them going. We got Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, coming up next, talking Lobo Athletics and much, much more. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood.
Well, Lobo football tomorrow hosting Wyoming. 2 p.m. kickoff, 1 p.m. pregame show for you over on News Radio KKOB. Monday, doubleheader at the pit. Yes, there's 2 basketball games on Monday. A Lobo women tip-off the season, 11 a.m. against Northern Arizona. The preseason favorite in the Big Sky Conference comes to town. And then the Lobo men hosting Nichols State. It's a 7 p.m. tip-off. You can hear the Lobo women right here on The Sports Animal, 10:30 pregame. Lobo men Monday night over on News Radio KKOB, 6:30 on the UNM Sports Radio Network. Happy Friday, everyone. Hope you're hanging in there. Some of the sugar coma, some of that laying off. I had the dad tax. Definitely had to take it last night after the trick or treating. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. JJ Buck, got the former Lobo linebacker, Stat Riley. Got the defensive end, Isaiah Johnson. The defense on lock here on the OD. And we go to the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal joins us this morning. Jeff, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. How you living? How was the trick or treating for you last night?
Did pretty good, I'll say. I've trained them well. They came home with enough to make us sick for a while and enough to last us till, well, if we let them have at it, it'll last us through the weekend, but it should last us like a good month or so with the amount they got, at least.
Yeah, there's so many lessons in trick-or-treating, responsibility, say trick-or-treat, say thank you, stand out of the way. But one of the biggest things is just when you go up to the house and then they just put the bowl in front of you, right? And then you're watching, is my kid going to make the right choice? Is he going to take the Reese's or is he going to take the terrible candy? And there are a lot of good choices made. So that is also a sign of very good parenting, I must say.
And yeah, and there's a confidence thing to it as well, right? Like I think some kids are a little nervous. Maybe if they're with older kids, they get nervous and just kind of reach in, grab, and run. No, just be confident. Get up there, look at the bowl. You know, you got to recognize what's in there. You got to assess it. You know, you got to read the defense a little bit. And if you got to dig a little bit, if you see that Snickers bar maybe under some of the worst candy, or you see that Reese's peanut butter cup, like you go for it. Like that's your opportunity, man. You got to seize the moment.
Life lessons, and you can learn life lessons, trick or treating. You had a good thread yesterday too on the Mountain West, and having some fun, getting the responses from your Mountain West followers on which schools are what candy. But are we going to be in for a treat this week? And you've done a lot more football work. What you and Sean are doing, going live throughout the year. I think that's been great content for everyone. And I want to get your thoughts on this Lobo team and the fact that could be talking about them getting bowl eligible. Yeah, they got to win 3 of the last 4, but that opportunity is right there for this football team.
Yeah, the 3 of the last 4, obviously, as you said, and none of the 4 are in the realm of no chance. I mean, obviously, Washington State's going to be really tough, but there's none of those 4 games that are kind of no chance games. It's good to see because I don't think this isn't to say that any anyone else thought they were going to do it this way. But the way they've done it is just sort of quietly went about their business. They went 0-4 against 4 teams that were double-digit favorites against them. And I do think a lot of fans, there were people here in town, there were some people on the radio that I listened to saying, like, I don't know where a win on their schedule even is. They're looking at that kind of stuff. And I'm like, well, what are you guys watching? If you don't see the improvement, sometimes you just need the win, right? But the team, they stayed the course through an 0-4 start. They bought into that. I know the fans sometimes need the validation. The team sometimes needs the validation. The team stuck it out before the validation of that first win came, and you've seen the result. They've looked like a really good team. I thought they looked like a really good team at times when they were 0-4, but they're seeing the result now, and you can tell that this is a team that believes it can win some games. And even last week, as frustrating as you could be, really frustrated with the game when you lose a turnover battle 4-0. You can be really frustrated in any game you only score 6 points in. 10 penalties all on the offensive side, 5 of them coming on 3rd and short, or 3rd and under 10 anyway. And I just think that there's a lot of things you could have got really frustrated about last week, and yet they're down 11. They have, they're driving the ball later in the game. But they still kind of had a chance until pretty late in the game. And those are all signs of a team that's improving. They had probably their worst game of the season, statistically in some regards, and still kind of had a chance on the road. That's a good team. That's a good, solid team. And, yeah, the fact that they're still bowl eligible, I mean, that's pretty crazy, but good for them.
And you deal with it, man. We're in this space where we do interact with fans. We hear their opinions. It's what we want. It's why we're here, too. And, early on in the season, when they got off to that slow start and expected it against the schedule, you did, but it coincided too with the Mountain West Pac-12 breakup, the Lobos being left on the outside, and it just kind of felt like there's more animosity being built towards football, and you're the reason why we're not in the Pac-12. But to see that this team has made progress, to see this team is playing a meaningful football game on a weekend where level basketball starts on Monday. Have you seen kind of that narrative play out? Because it was one I was worried about early on, that, man, like, people could just turn sour, not because the football team isn't trying, but just because of the conference stuff, which has nothing to do with this year's football team.
Right. I think the conference realignment stuff was a punch in the gut to a lot of people, kind of realizing it's not just talk. Like, we really are, as an athletic department, in a position that they really aren't going to take us. Like, fan bases can talk trash to one another. You guys are awful. Nobody likes going there or whatever. But this was reality, right? This is actual schools sitting down in their private meetings and deciding, here's what we're going to do. We're breaking off, and here's the schools we're taking. The ones we're not taking, we view as a detriment to our future league. That's sort of a reality check that I think a lot of fans, some of them may have taken it out singular on football, because that is what the new league kind of said. Look, we need football brands that are going to help the TV market, right? Help the multimedia rights package that we get. And they didn't see that as what UNM was going to give them. But I think the reality is, I think most people in this community, most Lobo fans, realized pretty quickly was that's a sign that, like, we need to kind of step up probably as a community and a state, but also a university and a fan base, and really kind of, if we want this to be successful, we all kind of have to join in some regard. That's one thing that I think could come out of this, is I think the community and the fan base could actually come out of this saying, all right, we get it. We want to be a part of bigger time athletics, and so we're all going to invest a little bit more. Hopefully that starts turning up at the gate, and more fans actually start showing up to games, and you get back to the 20,000 a game rather than the 15 or 16,000 a game at football, and then you work from there. You try and get back up to the 25,000 a game and that kind of stuff. So hopefully that's the next step, as we actually start seeing more fans show up.
Hey, Jeff, as we pivot over to basketball as the season approaches, obviously last year they won the Mountain West Championship, but they went ahead and said that if we did not win the championship, no matter how great of a season we might have had, we would not have made the tournament. If there's one thing that this Lobo basketball team needs to do in order to make the tournament this year, that's what?
First of all, I think they overdid it. They corrected they got the message loud and clear from the selection committee that they needed a tougher non-conference. They needed a few more wins on the road. They need all that kind of stuff. And I to be honest with you, I think they kind of overcorrected a little bit. Their non-conference schedule, they're not going to go undefeated. They play in the first week of the season next Friday. I guess that's a week from today, right? They're already playing a ranked UCLA team on a neutral court. You look at some of the lower level schools that don't mean anything to most of us, like Texas A&M Corpus Christi, supposed to be good in their league, that kind of stuff. But they're also playing Arizona State, which could be a tough win. And if they win that game, they're playing either USC or St. Mary's. St. Mary's is, getting votes and almost ranked. They're playing VCU, which is the top team in the Atlantic 10. And fans may not recognize it, but they're receiving votes in the poll too. I actually think this schedule is one of the toughest. We've kind of historically looked it up. This is probably the second toughest, at least dating back to, in the whole Pitt era from the 60s. Part of that's because UNM, I know fans have revisionist history sometimes because they remember one really good game against Arizona or something. But UNM Lobo basketball has traditionally had really weak non-conference schedules. It's not something new. But this year, they actually loaded up pretty well. And they might have overdone it because they might have, St. John's and Madison Square Garden, which I haven't mentioned yet, is a ranked team. I just think that they're probably going to get out of non-conference with maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 losses. But we'll see how that treats them going into conference play and if they can make a run at a regular season title. Because you look at a lot of the computer metrics, UNM is ranked right now and predicted right now to be the best. I know the media poll, and I picked Boise State myself, but the media poll and others picked Boise State to win, but UNM is pretty close to them. So I think they're going to be 1 or 2 in the league, and I think that they have a chance to be really good. I want to see how fans respond to 3 or 4 losses maybe going into replay, though.
Jeff the Hater Grammer joining us on the opening drive from the Albuquerque Journal. And you look at this team this season. Am I correct? Do they really play San Jose December 4th? Is that
so? Because they went to the 20-game schedule, the Mountain West is sneaking in a few games, not many, but a few games into that early December window when a lot of schools, the schedule lightens up that first week or second week of December because of finals across the country. So in that kind of window where the schedule lightened up, there's a few Mountain West games sneaking in. But yeah, San Jose State actually comes to the Pit for the first league game on Wednesday, December 4th.
That's wild with the 20-game conference schedule on the men's side, getting that in there. But you look at this team, Donovan, fantastic. We know he's going to be a creator. I think True Washington, just seeing the flashes of his offensive game is really good. But, I think the build-up offensively going to be a little bit longer. I do think that that's a process, just to shooting the flow of the offense. It's going to take some time for this Lobo basketball team. But what do you think they're going to be defensively? Can that be something they lean on early in the season?
I think so. So, I mean, UTEP, I don't think is a very good offensive team, but they're a bully ball team. They're a team that's really physical. They're going to foul all year. What you saw the other night against the Lobos in that exhibition is what you're going to see out of UTEP a lot of the year. It doesn't matter who they play. They're going to go foul a lot because their pressure defense dictates that. They were, I think, top 20. I think it might have been 15th in the country last year in fouls per game. But steals per game, they led the country. That is what they do. And in a lot of ways, for newcomers playing their first game in the Pit and getting to know each other, it's good to have another team that probably isn't, Northern New Mexico or one of the Division IIs. It doesn't hurt to have it be a team that's going to be like, I don't care if this is an exhibition. Like, we're coming to the Pit to beat you guys. And UTEP certainly wasn't scared. That's just not their mindset, their DNA. So I think that was good for New Mexico. Defensively, I think New Mexico can be really good this year. I think they're taller at every position. I do think Nelly Jr. Joseph got stronger in the offseason. Matt Flores, their strength coach, he was telling me that the Georgia Tech transfer, Ibrahim Sacco, was the strongest, just built like a linebacker, looks like a football player. He was the strongest when he arrived on campus over the summer. And I don't know if Nelly took that personally or just happened to have a really good summer. But last week, Matt told me Nelly is now the strongest guy on the team. And if Nelly Jr. Joseph has the season I think he can have, he's going to protect the rim and rebound well. And even though the Lobos finished last year, I don't know if fans would believe this, but if you look at adjusted efficiency on KenPom, they were ranked 23rd in the country in defense last year. A lot of that had to do with Jalen House and steals and stuff like that. But I think they'll be a better team defensively overall because I just don't think they're going to be outsized on the perimeter as much. I don't think you're going to see, a 6'5" Max Rice posting up a 6-foot Jalen House very often and stuff like that. You got a lot of that last year where just like 6'4", 6'5" guards could take advantage of a 6-foot or 6'2" guard on the Lobos. Now Donovan Dent's the shortest one on the court at 6'2". And I just think the Lobos, because of size and because Nelly Jr. Joseph in particular, can be really good defensively this year.
We know in basketball you're going to dance with who you brought to the dance with you. In the starting five, Rich Pitino is going to lean on them a lot. But who are you looking at that could be the depth pieces, that could be a factor for this team off the bench?
Yeah, I'll say that there's a strong starting 4 and maybe a strong starting 6, depending on how you want to look at it. So I'm going to say the first guy off the bench from Monday was C.J. Noland, and I think he's kind of him and Philip Borovishanin. Those two guys might kind of alternate back and forth who's going to be the starter at the 3, depending on size, because C.J. Noland's only 6'4", and Philip is 6'9". So kind of depending on what they want to do at that 3 spot, I think those two guys might swap back and forth as to who's going to be the 3rd or the 5th starter on the team at the 3 spot. But down deep in the bench, I'll tell you what, man, I don't think he had a good last couple months. When he first got here, he was blowing people away. But Jovan Milicevic, the freshman from Arizona who actually grew up in Toronto and his parents are both Serbian, he got here and blew people away and was looking so good early in the summer. But then I think he hit a wall, man. He's lost like 20 pounds already. I don't know if he was catching up to physically, a new body type or what, but he didn't look very good to me the last few weeks. And then Monday night, he looked great again. So I think he's a guy as a freshman. In fact, another freshman, Kate Dotson, as a backup point guard. I think those two freshmen, they're going to find minutes this year, man. I don't know that they're going to ever start a game, but I think both of those freshmen, Kate Dotson and Jovan Milicevic, will both be in the primary rotation.
Yeah, I was producing that game over on KKOB, and I kept hearing his name, especially in the second half. It was like he came alive, and Donovan Dent did a great job at setting him up, and I think their chemistry could help him go a long way, Milicic.
I'll tell you what, if Donovan Dent does one thing this year, and he's going to average, 18 a game probably. I don't know if he'll get up to 20. But if Donovan Dent uses his powers for good, right, he has such a court vision that if he can identify the guys on the team that he knows need to get going and they need a little help to get them going per game, and he finds them the way he was finding them just Monday night in the second half with the freshmen especially, man, Donovan can make this team so much better. That's the power of a good point guard, right? People talk about floor general and all that. A really good point guard isn't just a good passer like Donovan is. A really good point guard finds a freshman that might be struggling a little bit, but finds him in the perfect spot when he's open to make him look good and maybe get his confidence going a little bit. If Donovan does some of that this year, and I think he can, I do think this team has the talent to get some of those newcomers and those freshmen rolling pretty early on in the season.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he did in that game, because in the first half, the Lobos were up big, and then the coach subs, and then, the other team comes back, and then in the second half, he got everybody going so that when he got, his break, his rest, the team was able to maintain and keep that momentum going.
Yeah, the non-Donovan Dent minutes are going to be big this year. We'll see what UNM looks like when Donovan is on the bench, when he is in foul trouble, or when maybe he's hurt. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But as last year we saw, Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr. both missed a good chunk of time. So the non-Donovan Dent minutes this year are going to be key. I know the freshmen I do think can be pretty good. Kate Dotson at the backup point guard. But when he's not on the floor, who's getting everybody going? And that'll be key to see what happens with the Lobos.
Hey, Jeff, you got a couple more minutes in here. I got some Mountain West stuff I just wanted to pop on you, and we're going super long. Got to sneak in this break. So Jeff Grammer is going to stick with us as we go to the other side. I want to get his thoughts on the conference stuff, because there was a different vibe at Media Day from these coaches that are in the Mountain West Conference and the ones that are going to be in the Pac-12. But hoop season is upon us. Monday, doubleheader at the Pit. Lobo women in the morning, Lobo men in the evening. It's opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Get ready to step into the ring of excitement with
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Mir here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space. And you can be part of it. You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has
Boise State, we're pretty proud to talk about, we got great things coming. We're going to the Pac-12. Nico Medved and Colorado State are also going, but Nico was much more, it's unfortunate, football drives the bus and kind of is messing with a good league because he really enjoys the league. And Brian Dutcher's, he's a pro. He didn't say anything that was boastful or anything like that, but it was sort of awkward. I think everybody, not everybody, but most of the coaches sort of danced around, the elephant in the room. That there was, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's over dramatic or not, this is big business and all that. But there are 5 teams or 6 teams in the league that defected from the others, right? They met secretly and sort of snuck out of the conference without the others knowing. So there's some betrayal feelings a little bit, and who you can trust. Now the coaches weren't in on any of that, but they represent the schools, right? And some ADs were there at media days, and maybe they were involved in some of those conversations. Ultimately, the conversations and decisions are made by school presidents, and I think everybody kind of gets that. But it was weird. There were 2 coaches in particular that were pretty open and honest about, man, this is awful. This is stupid. What are we doing? You're going from a group of 5 league for football to a group of 5 league for football and ruining a really good basketball league in the process. And that was Pitino and Tim Miles of San Jose State, both staying in the Mountain West, obviously. So it'll be awkward, but I don't think the basketball side of things will be all that awkward. I think I'm more interested to see over the next couple of years how often the remaining Mountain West schools are going to be able to knock off some of those Pac-12 schools and stuff like that. I think the Mountain West schools are really going to enjoy that. Unfortunately, the ones that left are pretty good teams for the most part. Boise State, I guess, being the one. So, I don't think it'll be too awkward in the next couple of years, but the fan bases will sure let everyone know about it.
Yeah, they will. And with this, too, I know the Field of 68. I saw that you repost what they put out there, and Richard Pitino's name has been on everyone's mind the last couple seasons with the progress of Lobo basketball. And they had Richard Pitino on the list of the next coach to get a big time job. Nico Medved was also one of the two of the 15 that they mentioned, and then a lot of people are looking too at the conference split as something that's going to push him out. I think Richard Pitino, it's nothing against New Mexico. It's like this dude with success was destined at some point to take that jump. He wants to get back east at some point in time. But do you think that might change the type of job he's willing to take with what we've seen occur and what the conference is going to look like, in the next 2 years?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I mean, is any of the remaining Mountain West schools, their path to the NCAA tournament just got a little harder because they're not going to stay in the 20-game schedule like they just moved to this year because the league will be smaller. But the path to the NCAA tournament got a little tougher for all the teams because they're not playing each other all year, and that's what really helped their computer metrics last year because there were 6 or 7 teams all ranked in the top 100. The bottom teams weren't awful anymore. So the computers made it look really, really good for all the Mountain West teams, and they get 6 teams in as a result, right? Now you have these 2 leagues split up in the Mountain West, the remaining Mountain West. It's going to be tougher to get multiple teams in. That said, New Mexico has been a university that has survived through the years with basketball still getting its fans. For whatever reason, the area has loved its Lobo basketball through the years, even in lean times, even when they were bad. Let's not pretend that Lobo basketball has always been good because it's had its lean times as well, and the fans still showed up for basketball. So I think Lobo basketball overall will sort of survive whatever league it's in. As far as the coaching goes, though, the league is a little less attractive now, right? So, yeah, I think it could affect whether or not Pitino stays. I do think Pitino was in the position from the start, though, where if he did what he just did over 3 years, take a 6-win team, and remember those 6 wins, 2 of them were against non-Division I teams, so really a 4-win team from that COVID season under Paul Weir to the NCAA tournament in 3 years, pretty remarkable. And if that was going to happen, I think people knew he was going to be attractive for the next job. And yeah, he'll consider it. He's kind of been honest about that. He will consider jobs when they come to him.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. Appreciate the extended time, man. As always, you guys are rocking their coverage in the paper and the live shows that you guys are doing. And I know it's just getting started for you, man. So appreciate the time.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks, man.
Yep. Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. We'll dive into that and so much more. We got the entire crew with you. 30 minutes to go, and we're going to finish strong on a Football Friday. It's opening drive here on The Sports Animal.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
If you're drunk,
Blasted.
intoxicated,
Rip. Plastered.
destroyed, brah. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle. There's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them.
Take advantage of cementing yourself atop a division, trying to stay in that playoff race. We saw New York look like the team that people were expecting them to be. Fine offensively, just get the ball into the hands of your playmakers. I still don't know. I guess the shin was in for Garrett Wilson, but it was an Odell Beckham-like catch. 2 touchdowns for Garrett Wilson on a night, 3 for Aaron Rodgers, and they beat the Texans 21-13 on Thursday Night Football. As Houston, man, they got some issues. They have to find a way to protect C.J. Stroud. C.J. should be better than that, even without some of his playmakers, but I think it's more of an offensive line issue right now for Houston than it is any quarterback questions in terms of the performance or the play you can get from C.J. Stroud. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. J.J. Buck, Cy Riley, Isaiah with you. We talked a lot about the NFC this morning, big-time matchups, of course, Packers and Lions. What are you going to get out of Jordan Love in this contest? And the Lions should be the favorites right now in the NFC. But the Eagles, coming off performance that we've seen from them, they're 5-2 on the season. But the AFC game that I'm interested in, and it's teams that you say the Baltimore Ravens, and we put them in the conversation, right, with Kansas City and Buffalo, and like, all right, this is a contender. But Baltimore is 5-3. And the team that they're playing this weekend is also 5-3. Yes, the Ravens are better than the Broncos, but Lamar Jackson also didn't practice the last 2 days. And I would still pick Baltimore in this game. Am I going to pick them to win by 9? I'm not sure about that. But how you guys feeling about the Ravens right now, who responded after the slow start, won 5 in a row, got by Jameis Winston last week? Were you guys on Baltimore?
I think the Ravens, they'll figure it out. You know, they're a team with Lamar Jackson, MVP, you know, type of player. Now they got Deontay Johnson. I think the biggest question is their defense. You know, can they hold teams from, scoring 25, 28 points a game? That's the biggest question mark. But when you have Lamar Jackson, the offense, I'll never question, you know, their, resilience and brilliance and things like that. Now, can they give Derrick Henry the ball? Like, I don't understand why, you know, he's not having 20 carries a game. Like, yeah, you got Lamar Jackson. He can run the ball. But you have Derrick Henry, who's torching the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. He's the reason why that they should honestly be 6-2, you know, or 7-1. You know, they lost to the Raiders, lost last week to the Browns. Those are two games that, you know, that they should have won late. So yeah, they need to get themselves out of that predicament of having to fight from behind. And if you can give Derrick Henry the ball and get him going, man, I don't see Denver stopping that.
Yeah, Derrick's been going.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
And the biggest thing with Baltimore that I'm seeing that makes me confident in them is, again, going back to that being able to run the ball and pass off the runs scenario. The Ravens did lose the first 2 games, but I think they were meshing. Since then, I think the only team that can beat Baltimore is Baltimore. And also, even in the Ravens game after they beat Dallas, and guys are on I think it was Marlon Humphreys, he was on the plane, and he's on Instagram Live, and he's all dancing and everything. And remember, in that game, they were up like 38-10 or something crazy like that. And the Cowboys came back and almost took the lead. And Lamar looks right at the camera and he goes, I don't even know why you're on Instagram Live. Like, we have a lot to work on. We're not in any position to be bragging. And Lamar, every time you talk to him right now, he's always focused on the next game. He's focused on getting to the playoffs and winning in the playoffs. And I think their leader has his head in the right space. So, therefore, I think they're going to bounce back. And they got the right captain steering the ship.
I mean, a game that I'm interested in just because anytime Jameis Winston plays, he's either going to be amazing, throw 3 touchdowns, or he's going to throw 3 interceptions. Like, the Jameis Winston experience is something else. In Cleveland, it was like a breath of fresh air that they didn't have the Deshaun Watson cloud over him last week. Like, Jameis Winston was the AFC Offensive Player of the Week because he went for 334 and 3 touchdowns in that 29-24 win over the Ravens. But they got the Chargers coming this time. Chargers are trying to hang on and stay in that wild card race. Just be a team that finds a way to win games. Not exciting, but they're 4-3. They're 1.5-point favorites at Cleveland. But I think it's just what's fascinating is the Jameis Winston experience. Like the pregame speeches from Jameis are like must listen to. Like last week was epic when he's like, you play for the name on your jersey, you play for the decal on your helmet. We don't have decals on the helmet, but it's just like just in the moment stuff, and the whole eating the W. But he actually explained that, and I thought it was hilarious what he said about the eating the W quote. So many people go back to is just like looking at it like, what is this guy doing? Well, he said this week, quote, bro, listen, this is who I am. and they just asked about eating a W. He said, quote, "It started with alphabet soup, you know? I've always done eat a W because alphabet soup is growing up in the hood. You're going to eat the alphabet soup. So I'm only eating the W." And you know what? That is a fantastic origin story. Whether it's real or not, to explain it that way, like, I just love the comedian that Jameis Winston is. But just seeing this dude, what do you guys make of how different like that team looked by just having Jameis Winston back there versus Deshaun Watson?
1, 2, 3 into the 4. The Browns, Q's, and C's are coming out that door. What my trainer told me, he just told me be prepared. Jameis Winston is by far one of my favorite NFL football players. You know, watching him at Florida State, people forget he won a Heisman.
He was amazing.
You know, first overall pick, gets drafted to the Bucs. Obviously, he 5,000 yards, but he also had 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in the same year. Like, just crazy numbers that only Jameis Winston can get. So, no, I'm looking forward to them playing the Chargers. Obviously, you know, a Harbaugh-led team, Justin Herbert, you know, him getting to a rhythm. And, you know, with Deshaun Watson and his absence, can this be, you know, the team that – and it's kind of funny. Baker goes from the Browns to the Rams, or to the Browns to the Panthers to the Rams, and now he's at the Bucs. And Jameis, you know, being a former Buck, going to the Saints, and now he's at the Browns. Can this be, you know, the Tampa Bay Baker Mayfield for the Cleveland Browns? Like, is that what we're looking at here with Jameis, you know, in his play, being able to take over that position from the long haul, because Deshaun Watson wasn't giving them, you know, much very good, adequate quarterback play to begin with. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And Jameis and his next, you know, quote that I'm sure he's rehearsing these. He's got to rehearse these.
He does it, but I don't know.
I don't think he does either. You know, and I wonder, when you see the way Jameis played in their last game, if the Cleveland Browns knew that he was going to play this way, like, obviously you don't wish an injury on anybody, although Deshaun may be the rare case for some people. But I think this, like, if the Cleveland Browns knew that Jameis was going to play this good, do they still trade Amari Cooper? Like, do they maybe keep Amari Cooper in Cleveland and see what Jameis would have been able to do with Amari Cooper? And, you know, if Jameis does keep playing this well, do you think about trying to now add weapons? Because before this, they may have been looking at some sort of rebuild, or maybe trying to blow the team up. You were talking about, you know, trading Myles Garrett. But if you have like a little bit of hope on offense, you might as well keep Myles Garrett, and now you start aiming towards complementary football versus, you know, blowing up the team and trying to add talent.
Yeah, I think they're playing the what-if game with Amari Cooper. Just with the trade went down, and then when Deshaun Watson got hurt. But I think you look at, you know, they did acquire Jerry Jeudy. The offseason paid him. They're trying to lean into him. Cedric Tillman has been awesome the last 2 games. He was the 3rd-round pick a couple years ago. So, yeah, I think that changes for them from potentially selling more pieces on the edge to just pushing this out. And, you know, as you said, Cy, if they go into next year, you know, Deshaun is still going to be a question mark. Mm-hmm. The rehab coming off the Achilles. So do they say, hey, this is our moment to see if we can get that spark, to the Baker Mayfield, the Geno Smith type of play where it can keep you know, in playoff contention? Because they got it at the end of last year, Joe Flacco. So this team knows that just average quarterback play, they can compete.
And, you know, I kind of think the season is over for them anyways. You know, they're 2-6. They still got to play the Ravens, got to play the Chiefs, got to play the Steelers twice, you know, even if people don't think that we're all that in a bag of chips. We're 6-2. Anyways, no, but so this season's, you know, done. So looking, you know, into the future, like, yeah, you know, you're still going to have that large contract, that large salary cap space that's been eaten by Deshaun Watson. And is he going to be available, you know, for the start of the year anyways? You know, Achilles injury is a long rehab process. I got my butt kicked yesterday at physical therapy. You know, I'm still rehabbing it, even though I had it, you know, 7 months ago. So it's a long process. And, you know, that's one thing that the Cleveland Browns are going to have to take notice of. Are they going to, you know, if Jameis Winston is able to give you not only adequate quarterback play, but he's going to give you great quarterback play. If they're going, let's say they finish the rest of the season at 500. You know, going into next year, are they going to go into a situation to where they're going to want to add pieces, or are they going to want to sell? So I think this is a very strenuous time for the franchise, for the organization. Do you still believe in your head coach? You know, through all the disparities that they're going through. So it's going to be a weird situation, a sticky situation that, you know, Brownies are going to have, or that they're going to find themselves in. And yeah, I look forward to, you know, when the new league year opens in March, what the Browns are going to do day one.
Yeah, and then also even with Deshaun during the recovery, I mean, a lot of times recovering from something like an Achilles, you have a lot of like reflecting you do, and you can clear your mind. So who knows? Maybe he comes back, and what if he just turns back into Houston Texan Deshaun Watson? Maybe obviously less mobile, but what if you know, during this recovery he comes back and he's able to, you know, run an offense, and then you start to see the guy that they originally paid for, and then that would be a whole different situation, and then you might have a QB battle competition next year in Cleveland. So
505-246-0610. If you're on the line, stay there. We got to take this break. We'll get back to you after this. It's the opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420.
Wyoming 7.5-point favorites. Tomorrow out there at University Stadium. Excited to see how they bounce back, especially offensively. And scoring 6 points against Colorado State, but an opportunity. That's what you want at this point in the season, is an opportunity, whether it's in college football, trying to get bowl eligible, or making that push in the second half of the season towards the NFL playoffs. The opening drive here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. JJ Buck, joined by Cy Riley. Isaiah with you, 505-246-0610. Sports Animal hotline and text line. Terry, good morning, man. What's going on?
Good Friday, JJ. Good Friday, Cy. Good Friday, Isaiah. Thoughts and hugs to all family members and all that. Two new guys know this is all Jayhawk radio at the end of a Friday, but we'll avoid them. My son's coaching JC football in Texas, and after the Bears and their screw up at the goal line, he matched that where they ran a Philly special from the 1 yard line, and 4 fumbles later, the other team's gone 99 yards. And, put it on the board. And he says, never again will I do anything that stupid on a call. You get that close, you just punch it in. So whatever level he gets to be the OC at. Jameis Winston, he kind of reminds me, you guys are all young, but I had that machine you would plug into the wall and the players would hum around. And Jameis reminds me of the player that would just race through and score a touchdown one time, and the next time would just spin around in a circle for a while. So he'll have some great games, and then other games will be like, oh, is that the same guy in the jersey? And, JJ, I'm older than the hills. But, again, I've never seen anybody, a quarterback, tap out saying they're too tired during the game. I don't know how the team keeps respect for a player. If you're hurt, it's one thing, but just saying I'm tired, I need out. So Richardson, good luck with there. I think Flacco will have the realm for the rest of the season into that. But good luck to the Lobos tomorrow. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoyed the last couple of days with the show, holding down the fort, and including the new guys. So you guys be safe. Enjoy your weekend. Take care.
Appreciate you, Terry. Absolutely. You got two superstars on the opening drive this morning with Cy and Isaiah killing it. And the insight that they've been able to bring, it's been awesome the last couple of days. And I mentioned Anthony Richardson, and maybe he doesn't take the field the rest of the season, but the Colts have to have an extended plan with Richardson, right? Is this hey, if Flacco is good, we're going to play him the rest of the year? Or is this, all right, Joe for 2 weeks and then back to Richardson? Like, what do they do? Like, they have to have a plan with this, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. I think if he goes and really just shows the team that he's going to make sure he never gets too tired again, but you have to go out and actually really put in the effort, do the sprints, show the accountability, show that you learned your lesson. I don't think, I know he wasn't playing good, but I don't think he was benched just because he wasn't playing good. This was even more of a feather that broke the camel's back. I think this is more about him tapping himself out and feeling like he was just owed the starting position rather than his play getting him benched. I think that they're ready to sink or swim with him, but I think this incident that just happened, they had to bench him just to prove a lesson, and they're doing a good job by not throwing him under the bus completely by not coming out and saying that. But I do think that bringing up like his stats or the fact that he hasn't played that well, I think the Colts have used that and have let that be really the front and center reason for why they benched him. But I do think behind closed doors, this is specifically because he tapped himself out on 3rd and goal.
Yeah, it's a mental shift. Like I said yesterday, when you're a football player and you're out there on the field, you can't take any moment, any opportunity for granted. I think the biggest thing is people say, when you get hurt from injury, when you come back, you can't technically lose your spot due to injury. Yes, you can. If somebody else is producing better than, what you did, then absolutely, by all means, you're not owed anything. The only thing that the game owes you is pain and torture. I think we saw that with the Bears collapse, against Washington with the Hail Mary. That's nothing's promised. You score, you get up, and things just go awry. They don't go. There's no reason for anything in football. You could have the perfect play call on both sides of the ball, yet just a blade of grass can make you slip and things go the completely opposite direction. Nothing's owed to him. Nothing's owed to us as football players in the game. So you just got to be able to go out there and live in the moment and not take anything for granted. And I think that's what the Colts are doing. You're the number 4 overall pick. Yeah, we have a little bit of ties to you with that aspect, but by all means, if you don't produce, if you're not living up to that hype, we don't have to keep you. And so I think that's the message that they're sending to Anthony, like, hey, get your act together and let's go be great from here.
Mm-hmm. That's Sunday Night Football. Colts at the Vikings. Minnesota looking to bounce back after the defense has been a bit of an issue the last couple weeks, but Minnesota at home against the Colts. That's going to be a fun one to watch this weekend with the NFC. A lot of impactful games, and we talked about the noise to it, but Dallas at Atlanta. How you feeling about that one? Our Cowboys insider.
I have said it again. I'm all on board for the tank for Genty. When Genty and Belichick. I have never been a fan of hanging around and getting medium, middle of the pack draft picks unless I thought we could win the Super Bowl, and they can't win it. So I want a good draft pick.
He's already ready to cash out on the Cowboys. Simon, enjoy that parade. Have fun.
About to put on this jersey behind me, head over to Union Station. I got tickets to the Dodger ceremony, so we about to be up.
Nice. So I appreciate you, man. It's always great to catch up, and thanks for the insight last couple of days, Si. Much appreciated, my man. Isaiah, thank you for waking up early and hanging out with us. Of course, Adrian on Pro View Networks. We got Jim Rome Show coming up next. Colin Cowherd at 1, 2 men on at 4. And then a big weekend right here on the Sports Animal and UNM Sports Radio Network. Back Monday at 7 a.m., everybody. Remember, world peace and love. Have a great weekend.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 294-7684 or visit HansWillerAuto.com.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated,
Rip, plaster,
destroyed, bruh. If you're like this,